Hey there, guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian Podcast, episode 48. We are available on anchor.fm/Travis Damian Podcast, along with Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. If you guys would like to ask us any questions, you can leave a voice message at the anchor link or in the YouTube comment section. Today, we're going to be talking about Hollywood news, including Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. Then we'll go into our recent activities like the Hyrule Warriors demo and Attack on Titan. Lastly, we're going to be talking about the gaming news like the Nintendo Direct Mini and Miles Morales Spider-Man. So, first piece of news is that Jared Leto and Joe M as Deathstroke, they're both returning for the Snyder Cut of Justice League. So Jared Leto returning, first off, I think that comes as a big shock to pretty much everyone, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm surprised they're bringing him back because so many people didn't like him in the first place. Like, I think, like, so many people were not happy about that Joker, which is kind of why I'm happy they, like, abandoned that Joker for, what's his face?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, because I think he nails that role, like, super well, but it seems like the Snyder Cut wants to bring him back. I don't know, maybe it could be, like, he was just badly written, and maybe it was, like, maybe he could do a good job playing the character, but I don't know. Again, I think we've already talked about this. Like, I don't really have a lot of faith in the Snyder Cut. Like, it's not gonna make the movie any better. If anything, it's probably gonna make it like have a little more substance, and maybe that might help it a bit because it's gonna be like really long.
Yeah.
But I highly doubt it's gonna be like a better movie. Like, I just don't see it happening. You know?
Yeah, definitely. I share that very sentiment with you because I'm pretty sure I talked about this before. The Batman v Superman movie, when I saw that in theaters, I was not happy with it. Not just because of Martha, but I just thought that the movie was just really boring. And then when we finally got to like the final act, I was like, I really don't know what's going on, but stuff's happening. And then I got the Blu-ray, and then there's like a little bit of like extra stuff, sort of like the Snyder Cut, but like not as extensive. And it just made the movie longer and more boring to me. And I was just like, yep, this is not good. I don't exactly see what people see in Zack Snyder's vision of like the DC heroes. But Jared Leto coming back as the Joker for this one, I hope that they are able to sort of redeem his portrayal of the character. But then again, my faith within this Snyder Cut in general is sort of not all there. And then Joe M as Deathstroke also returning. I think that he was like the after credit scene in the original cut of the movie. So yeah, I guess he's gonna have some additional scenes or something. Maybe something will be explained, who knows, because they're definitely pouring more money than they should into this cut. So the fact that they're even bringing actors back to do reshoots is very interesting.
Yeah, it seems like maybe if this is like successful, they might like keep doing like this DCU or whatever. Because I didn't even know that we're gonna continue it after this point. Because every movie DC's been making has been like more standalone stuff, like the Batman and the Joker. I kind of like that route they're going, like Shazam also. Like they were kind of just fine standalone movies on their own, and I think they're better for it. Cause like the MCU clearly wasn't working for them, cause they're like trying to rush, like Endgame when they haven't done like the 10 years of work yet, you know?
Yeah.
Again, that's why I just don't think like this Justice League movie should happen like right now, because they don't have that like years and years of movies to build on. You know, the MCU, not all the MCU movies are good, right? Like Thor: Dark World, you know, that's not really good. Most of the Iron Man movies aren't that good, but still, you still have like a lot of things to build up before like Infinity War and Endgame. And I just feel like DC was just trying to shortcut to that point, and it just didn't work. But who knows? Maybe this could be amazing. I don't know. I highly doubt it. You know, I'm happy people are excited about it for, you know, those DC fans, but I'm still not too sure about it myself.
Yeah, even on like a smaller scale, not just like Endgame and Infinity War, just like the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, just like the first Avengers, yeah.
Like they just like took their time sort of thing, and then leading up to Age of Ultron, say what you will about that movie, but they pumped out another set of movies for those characters before we got to see them again on the big screen. So, yeah. But yeah, definitely there's that.
All right, so now finally we had the first look of Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, and yeah, he definitely looks like Nathan Drake, just, you know, like little baby Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
But this is supposed to be like a prequel movie, right? Wasn't that the
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, like an origin story for Nathan Drake?
Yeah, so the intention of this movie is to just sort of tell another story of a much younger Nathan Drake. Which, if you played the games, you've seen it a couple of times where like there's like flashbacks where you see a younger Nate doing things like in Uncharted 3 and Uncharted 4. So the fact that they're making another movie, just making a movie in general about a younger Nathan Drake, I wonder how that's all gonna play out. But Tom Holland, fully suited up as Nathan Drake, like you said, he looks like Nathan Drake. He just said it's Tom Holland playing as him. A lot of people have a problem with this or whatever, just like Twitter people or whatever. And I'm just like, I mean, I think he looks fine. I don't know what else you expect Tom Holland to really do, or for them to cast someone else. But I honestly have no idea. Just like as a person who like watches movies somewhat casually, like I don't know who else you would cast as like a younger Nathan Drake that would have like the same sort of like name as Tom Holland does, you know?
Right. I mean, yeah, like as a younger Nathan Drake, I think he looks fine. Like if they're trying to pass it off like, oh, this is like Nathan Drake from like the first game, that's gonna be a little sus about that. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know about that, but as a younger Nathan Drake, yeah, I could see it. He looks good in the outfit.
Yeah.
Again, we have to see the movie to see how he really does in the role, but just how as he looks in this Instagram post, I think he looks fine.
Yeah, and I remember a quote that Tom Holland said like a while ago is that like this video game movie is gonna be different from other video game movies. So like this first like sort of like screen cap of him in full costume, I'm all for it. And the fact that Nolan North also sort of like co-signed it was like, yeah, like he sees himself in Tom Holland, like looking in a mirror, like he said in the tweet. So I'm glad that they sort of have like him on set to sort of like have like that input in terms of like how the movie's going. So hopefully that will stay faithful for the Uncharted series because you want this movie to appeal to normal people but also to appeal to the Uncharted fans because that's going to be pretty much most if not all of the people buying tickets to see this.
Yeah, and it's just good to see this movie finally come out like, the light of day because this has been like development hell for like forever, I feel like. So
Yeah.
it's nice that it's actually like happening and hopefully it's like a good video game movie. Like, we're still like I haven't watched the Sonic movie, but I heard it was entertaining for what it was. But
Hmm.
hopefully this movie's like an actual good movie. And again, I said it before, but it really shouldn't be that hard to mess up an Uncharted movie because it's just Indiana Jones. Like, it really shouldn't be that hard to make like just a good adventure movie with like treasure hunting and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
All right.
But yeah,
So
that's all I have on that.
last thing we got in terms of movie/Hollywood news is that Oscar Isaac, the guy who plays Poe in the new Star Wars trilogy, he is in talks with Marvel to play Moon Knight for, I guess, within like the movies and a Disney Plus series. So this casting is interesting. Just because I know Oscar Isaac himself, after his experience with Star Wars, supposedly him and what's his name, the guy who plays Finn, his name is escaping me
John
right now.
Boyega?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Both of them were pretty much adamant about like not wanting to work with Disney again.
Yeah.
So I wonder how this time it's gonna be different. So yeah, I mean, like I don't mind this sort of choice just because I think that he is a pretty good actor just from the things that I've seen him in. The Star Wars movies, obviously, but also in Ex Machina, I thought that he was pretty good. So yeah, what do you think about this casting choice?
I think it's fine. I mean, I think like Moon Knight isn't that like is another good hero that's not really too known for most people, like Ant
Mm-hmm.
Man or some of the other lesser known heroes in the MCU that it made like popular. So I
Mm-hmm.
think having like an actor that I think he could do a good job as it. Because again, I don't think many people even know. I barely know who Moon Knight is. Like I kind of
Yeah.
know, but I think the MCU, like what I think the MCU does the best is taking these characters not too many, like even like Captain America, like not too many people really cared about Captain America or really any of the people, like
Mm-hmm.
Thor. Like no one really cared about Thor either, but they made him into these like really big personalities, and I have faith that the MCU, like whoever casts these people like as these heroes, like I think they have the best idea like what will fit that character. So yeah, I have trust that this would be a good fit for Moon Knight. So yeah.
Yeah, I barely know anything about Moon Knight. All I've seen of him is in like the Ultimate Spider-Man comic, but that's
Yeah.
about it. So,
Yeah.
but
um,
overall, I thought that it was fine.
all right. So I guess we get into our recent activities.
Yeah, and I will let you go first. Good
Yeah,
sir.
actually, I have a lot this time.
Pog.
um, been playing a lot of like little stuff. There's been a lot of updates and DLCs. I'm kind of just waiting for next gen to come out at this point, so I didn't want to start anything too big.
Hmm.
So first thing I played was Ghost of Tsushima Legends. This is the multiplayer mode for Ghost of Tsushima. And basically it's kind of like a live servicey type thing. Even though they're not gonna like update it past the raid, like I think they're releasing a raid soon. But
Hmm.
after that, that's it. You know, they're probably gonna work on Ghost of Tsushima 2, is my guessing, or whatever Sucker Punch is gonna be doing. It basically has the same format like those games. You gear up. You know, you do missions. You get better gear. You keep getting better gear. You do harder versions of those missions, and then eventually you will tackle the raid. I only played the story mode in like the lowest tier, you know, lowest difficulty, just to play through the content. I
Hmm.
played it with my brother, and it's very good. I really didn't know what to expect. You know, I just expected more Ghost of Tsushima. You know, I just expected to be like taking down Mongol camps with like a friend or whatever. But
Hmm.
it ended up being a lot more than that, since this DLC breaks your characters into like classes. So you can't each class can't do as much as Jin can, but they could do cool stuff. Like for instance, there's a character that just uses a bow, right?
Hmm.
And they can't do like Heavenly Strike or anything cool like katana things, but they could do this cool super move where you like headshot three people, and that's pretty cool. And there's also like the assassin where they always have a smoke bomb available to them and also poisons them. So yeah, you could do some cool things. The Ronin is also a really cool class, since that's a more supportive class. So you could summon like a spirit dog to help you, or like a healing well. So yeah, the class design is pretty good, honestly. For what limitations they're using for like the single player, you know, just taking existing gameplay mechanics and fitting it into this game mode.
Hmm.
But yeah, as terms for the story missions themselves, there's 9 of them, I believe, and each of them are really well done. Like they're not too long. I think they took about 15 minutes at about like 20 minutes at most. But most of the time they were like 15 minutes, and each level will have a really cool mechanic to it. So each level felt really different. Like there's one where you have to power yourself with these like runes,
Hmm.
and you have to like break these seals, and some of the enemies will be powered up by these seals as well. So you would have to like talk to your teammate, like, okay, I'm gonna get like this like yellow seal, you get this green seal. So you beat up that monster that's powered up by that element, so we do more damage to it. So yeah, and there's just a load of examples like that. There's one we have like the spirit bow where you have to hit the enemy with it, and it like breaks their guard, and that's the only way to like break their guard, or else like you just can't kill them. And yeah, there's just like a load of those cool special mechanics to them. And yeah, it just ended up being very enjoyable from the main game, since there's like a lot more spiritual elements to it, since they're not afraid to like play with that stuff, since it's sort of like it's just like stories. Like the whole setup is like it's stories set up that this guy is like telling the like a narrator is telling it to the player, so you're just like acting out these legends, and I thought that was very clever. Almost like
Hmm.
the Mystic Quest, right? Like it all
Yeah.
it all feels like that, and those are my favorite quests from Ghost of Tsushima. So it basically just felt like 9 more missions of those. So I think Sucker Punch did a great job. Mostly that this came out of nowhere and it was free.
Hmm.
um, I haven't done the survival mode, which is like a wave-based thing, and I probably won't do the raid because you know I don't know, I don't want to put that much time into this. But for what it is, it's very fun, and hopefully they do a Ghost of Tsushima 2 to flesh it out a little more. But yeah, for what it is, very high quality, and I was very impressed when I was playing it. I think if you have Ghost of Tsushima, I think it's worth like one playthrough, since it shouldn't take you that long. I think it's like 3 hours to play through all 9 levels, and you don't
Hmm.
really need that much communication for the easier like levels. So yeah, I'll say give it a shot if you own the game. Very good stuff.
Yeah, and
Next is yeah, go
yeah,
on.
yeah. Just I've seen some people like play it with like randoms, which
Yeah,
it seems to work fine. But
yeah.
I'm pretty sure when this game or when the PS5 comes out, that a lot of people are gonna probably repick the game back up or just buy it straight up. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to probably try it out when the PS5 comes out, just so I could play the game on a much better console. So.
Yeah, yeah, it makes it easy because it's like a pinning system, like Apex, right? Where you could
Hmm.
target a thing and just like click on like R3, and it just pins it. Like your character will shout like, "Hey, there's a healing thing here," or "Hey, there's an enemy here. I need help," or "Oh, I'm gonna target this enemy." So it makes it pretty easy without mics. So Yeah, very great. I'm glad Sucker Punch added this for some reason. It's great. And hopefully it returns if they make a Ghost of Tsushima too, which they probably are. So yeah. Next is the Doom Eternal DLC, the Ancient Gods Part 1. I love Doom Eternal. I thought it was fantastic. And this DLC is just more of that. It's only 3 levels, which sounds very short for like 20 bucks. I bought the season pass, so it's
Hmm.
30 bucks for all of it. There's supposed to be a second part at some point. But the 3 levels are very long. They're like each like an hour and a half each. So it took me about 5 hours to beat it. And let me just tell you, it's really hard. They really expect you to take everything you gain from the main campaign and just roll with it. And it kind of hurts when you haven't played the game since March, and now you go back to it now, and then you just get your ass kicked because the game kind of just expects you to like really remember how to play and all that muscle memory. So yeah, it's very hard. They throw like every like end game demon at you. It's super hectic, but it's a whole lot of fun. I really enjoyed this DLC. I think the final boss kind of sucks, but that's nothing new with these new Doom games. I feel like the bosses always kind of suck, unfortunately. He was just way. It just took way too long. It wasn't even really that hard. It was just really annoying. Um, because they have this new enemy that possesses another. It's like this ghost that possesses another enemy. So you have to kill it, but it's like super powerful and annoying to kill because it has like super armor. Like you can't freeze it or like crowd control it or anything. It just keeps running at you. And once you kill it, you have to switch to like a really specific weapon and like that has like a Ghostbuster like type mod to it. So you like you just do like a giant laser beam. I don't know. It sucks. I hate it. That's the only thing I really don't like. I really don't like that enemy. But besides that, I thought it was really solid DLC. And if you like Doom Eternal, I think you should just buy it or wait for the second DLC so you can just play them all in a row. Which is kind of actually I recommend that. Since the game is really the DLC is very hard, and it'll probably be best if you just play all the new DLC levels in a row just to keep your skills up, you know. But yeah, very good.
Hmm.
I recommend that as well. Next is Cadence of Hyrule. This actually came out last year, but I got the physical edition, all the DLC, like a week ago. And basically, this is Crypt of the Necrodancer, which is a roguelite rhythm-based like dungeon crawler. Basically, like move to the beat, and it basically plays like a standard roguelite, where it's like just a dungeon, you collect items and all that stuff. But it's based on like a beat, right? I'm horrible at it. I'm really bad at Crypto Necrodancer. I can't keep a good rhythm going, and I kind of just die a lot. I respect. It's probably one of the roguelites I respect the most, but I know I'm just absolutely terrible at it. I've tried so many times to get good at it, but I'm just terrible. So when I saw they were making a sort of like Zelda crossover, I was really excited because I love Zelda and I love the idea of Crypto Necrodancer. But as I was scared that I wasn't really gonna be able to like beat it because I suck at this like type of game. Um, but fortunately, I feel like they're a lot more lenient with the beat. Like I feel like you could be like a lot more off with your beat and you still be fine. And the game is
Hmm.
still basically a Zelda game just with the combat mechanics of Crypto Necrodancer, where you have a giant open world, you have 4 dungeons, and it just plays like Zelda, where you get items, you go through the dungeons, and instead of the dungeons being more puzzle oriented like Zelda, they turn into like Crypto Necrodancer dungeons where they're randomly generated, and you just like go through and get items and all that good stuff like a standard roguelite. And I thought that was really clever. And you can get very strong. Like I finished the base game. I'm gonna do the DLC like probably after this. Well, not after this, but probably like tomorrow or something. Where you could play a Skull Kid and it's like a whole new overworld, which is really impressive. Like that this team was able to do like this crossover in the first place. Like when I saw Nintendo was just allowing an indie dev to do something with like one of the biggest IPs they have, it's just cool. Like we came a
Yeah.
long way from Nintendo like being really recluse with their IPs to just letting an indie studio do something. Because it's something when they give it to another major like studio, but again to give it to just an indie team is really cool. And the
Hmm.
game really delivers. I think it's a lot of fun. If you like Zelda, I think you would enjoy this game. Um, it doesn't really require that much knowledge of Crypto Necrodancer to be enjoyable. As long as you like Zelda, you will enjoy it because there's also like a fixed beat mode where you could just move like it just becomes like a turn-based game at that point where you move, the enemy moves, and that'd be good if you don't really gel with the beat mechanic. But again, I think the beat is more forgiving in this game than it was in Crypto Necrodancer. So yeah, highly enjoyable. I'm really enjoyed it. Next, the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity demo. So I love Hyrule Warriors. I love Warriors games in general.
Hmm.
Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U really got me into the series because I heard of Dynasty Warriors, but I never really played one. It wasn't until Hyrule Warriors where I got really into it, and then I played, Fire Emblem Warriors after that, and then Dragon Quest Heroes, which is another Warriors type game. And this game is basically more of the same, which I expect just with a Breath of the Wild skin. But and it's great. Like, if you played Hyrule Warriors, you're gonna know what you're getting here. It just adds some Breath of the Wild mechanics. Like you could use the Sheikah Slate and do like what was it, like the freeze time thing, bombs, all the stuff you could do in Breath of the Wild, but in a Warriors way. Like you just throw a bunch of bombs, you like do really over the top moves with all these Sheikah Slate abilities, and everyone could use it, not just Link.
Hmm.
Um, the new characters, which is Impa and Zelda, play super cool. Like they're really unique so far. Like Impa has these like shadow clone jutsu type things she could do, and it like powers up all her moves. She's super fun to play. I really enjoyed her. And Zelda just uses the Sheikah Slate like in really cool ways. Like she just because she can't really fight in this universe, I guess.
Hmm.
So she just uses that, and it's also a really unique move set. And I'm really liking what I see so far. Presentation again amazing. Cutscenes were great too. All the same voice actors. If you like the voice actors from Breath of the Wild or not, then well, they're all back now. So,
Oh.
British Zelda is there again. So if you didn't like that, I guess you could play it in Japanese because that's an option to give you.
Hmm.
But the major issue that a lot of people are pointing out is the frame rate, and it's really bad.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an issue that I also can't defend. It's really bad. Warriors games tend to not really have stable frame rates just due to how many enemies are on screen anyway, so it's kind of
Hmm.
expected. But this game like goes below like 20 frames at points. It's like pretty
Oof.
bad. And I read some theories online where at least in the Hyrule field, there's like a bunch of grass like in Breath of the Wild, and I think that's causing a lot of slowdown. Other theories, and I kind of agree with this one, is they kind of just ripped the models from Breath of the Wild, which seems to have higher poly counts since the models used in in Warriors games are sort of like lower poly. Same thing with the enemies. Like the enemies are like look like shit because they have to put so many of them on screen, right?
Hmm.
In this game, all the moblins all look like from Breath of the Wild, which I'm assuming have higher poly counts than the ones in standard Warriors games, which is making the game just chug super hard. The game it also doesn't help. The game doesn't have a performance mode like Fire Emblem Warriors, where you could lower
Hmm.
the resolution to 720p instead of 1080p. I don't know why that option isn't there. It wasn't there in the Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition either, which I have no idea why. It was such a great feature in Fire Emblem Warriors where you could sacrifice, how pretty the game looks, but get a consistent frame rate. And I'm hoping they add that mode last second to this game. Like hopefully update like a week after launch at least, because the game really needs it. Like it really hampers the fun if I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm still gonna enjoy it because it's a Warriors game and I love Breath of the Wild and just Zelda in general.
Hmm.
But man, that frame rate could be a big issue.
Yeah, definitely. Seeing people on Twitter complain about that was so funny because I'm like, I'm pretty sure when I played Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U, the frame rate was also bad, but I kind
Yeah.
of was just like, there's like a bajillion enemies on screen. I really don't care because like when you're playing the game, like you're just trying to play it for like the gameplay and just like have fun with it. So, but definitely a frame rate thing is part of the gameplay,
Hmm.
so that will definitely hamper a lot of people's experience. So. Like you said, the performance mode is definitely a great idea. So.
Yeah. Again, I don't know why they didn't put it in this game. Like I would gladly sacrifice. I believe this is 1080p because it looks 1080p. Um, no, I would gladly sacrifice that for a better frame rate because for a game like this, I think having more frames is always better. I mean, that's any game really, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, so next, I told you I have a long list.
yeah. It's all
No More
good.
Heroes. So yeah, No More Heroes 1 and 2 were ported to Switch during the Nintendo Direct, which we'll talk about after all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, basically this is a game series I neglected for like a very long time for no reason. It was always a game series we bought it at launch. Like my brother played it at launch. Same thing with No More Heroes too. We don't have the original Wii games anymore because that was the point where we would trade everything because we were stupid for like
Mm-hmm.
$5 store credit at GameStop. But yeah, now playing it now as in 2020. I just beat it. I literally beat it like
How
two
long
hours
is it?
ago. It took me 12 hours.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I think it holds up really well. Obviously, there's things that don't age, and people were complaining about this back in like when the game first launched, like 2008. Like the open world isn't great. Obviously, I think that's been talked to death. No one really liked it. I know they got rid of it in No More Heroes 2. It's just kind of pointless. You kind of just drive around, go to the map marker, do your thing, drive back. It's like whatever. Like I don't think anyone liked it in 2008, and it still isn't great in 2020.
Hmm.
Um, Gameplay wise though, I think the game is still fantastic. I actually played with a pro controller. I didn't play with the dual what do you call them, Joy Cons,
Did
like
you have
how
to
God.
waggle the Pro controller?
No, 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 no. It was all done with the analog sticks, and it felt very
Oh,
natural.
okay.
Like to recharge your beam katana, you just hold L and just move the right stick instead of like jerking off the controller. Um, and it's actually like way faster to do that anyway.
Hmm.
To do like the wrestling moves, you just use the sticks. Like any like sort of motion control is done with the right stick. And it felt natural. It didn't feel wrong. If you told me this game was meant for a controller, I would have believed you because it felt very natural. Like the high and low attacks are just like X and Y. Um, so yeah, it just felt very natural.
Hmm.
And again, in terms of the game itself, it's fantastic. It's mostly I'll call it mostly a beat 'em up because that's kind of what it is with like boss fights.
Hmm.
It kind of feels like Cuphead where the boss fights are really the main show and like the beat 'em up parts are just to kind of warm you up for that. And yeah, all the boss fights are fantastic. If I do have one complaint is I think they're way too spongy. They take a very long time to kill. And this is me. I got every single upgrade I could. I upgraded my beam katana. I did the training. I got my health up. And yeah, bosses still felt like they took forever to kill. So yeah, that kind of got a little annoying. But for the most part, I think the bosses were a lot of fun. And the humor and stuff, I think still holds up. It might be a little crude now, but
Hmm.
whatever. It's 2008. The game is already really silly. The story is insane. I love it. I love the voice acting. The music is fantastic. I think the game still holds up super well if you like love action games. And yeah, I just think it was great. I had another point and I forgot what I was gonna say. um, but yeah, basically go buy it. It's selling really well too on the eShop, which is great. I think it's like number 2 now or number 3,
Hmm.
I just don't know why they made Travis Strikes Again when to gauge interest in the series. I'm like, you should have just done this from the start. You should have just ported No More Heroes 1 and 2. Like that's a way better gauge of interest than the game that's not even what that the No More Heroes gameplay is. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. It's really good. I'm gonna start No More Heroes 2 probably next week. So yeah,
Does the
I
game
really
look
enjoyed it.
pretty?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I want to talk about. The port. The port itself ran well. The open world sections kind of ran like doo doo. They didn't
Hmm.
ran great. Like sometimes the frame rate, but they ran fine. They just would drop frames for some reason. I don't know why. But when you were in battles, it was like a smooth 60 frames. The game looked great. Apparently, this is a port of the Wii version, and
Hmm.
not the PS3 version, like Heroes Paradise or whatever that one was called.
Hmm.
So yeah, everything you remember about the Wii version is in this game, all intact, is not censored or anything. Because I know the European ones I think censored the crap out of this game, so no, it's all there. So yeah, I thought the port was amazing, and yeah, I'll say go buy it. If you never played No More Heroes, you just wanna like just support the series, go buy it.
How
I
much
believe
is
it's
it
20.
again?
It's $20, but it's on sale for $18 right now, both of them.
Okay.
So yeah. And lastly, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Crown Tundra. Save the last one here for Pokemon, because of course.
Hmm.
Um, what I said about Isle of Armor was the first DLC. It was very good. I thought it was a good direction for Pokemon or Game Freak to go in. They forego routes entirely. It was just the big open world, the wild area, and you would do just side quests. Do like a story, and then that's it. I thought Isle of Armor was really short, but I kind of liked the direction it was going. Um, Crown Tundra continues that, but it's a lot more content, and it's kind of what I expected it to be anyway. Usually with DLC nowadays, I feel like the first DLC in a pack is usually very short, and the second one is where all the content is, and that's the case for this one. Um, Basically, you have a brand new wild area, the Crown Tundra, and you have 3 main quests. You have the new legendary Calrix. You have a whole side quest with him, the one with the new Reggies, and the last one with the Galarian birds from Kanto. And I thought all the quests were like really well done. The Calrex quest was really cool because he actually like talks to you. It felt like a Pokemon. It sort of reminded me of the what do you call it? Lucario movie where like Lucario would like talk and like be all
Hmm.
weird and stuff. I love that movie when I was a kid. I watched it like all the time. It sort of reminded me of that since the Pokemon actually talk to you, and that doesn't really happen in the games that often. And it wasn't like super deep lore or anything, but it's just cool to have this legendary actually have like a personality, since all the legendaries don't really like talk to you or aren't really characters. They're just Pokemon you catch. Um, and I thought that was just a really cool detail. The new Regis are really cool. I really love Reggie Alecki. He looks super cool. And Reggie Drago I did not get because you'll have to choose one or the other. Um, but and the way you open the doors to the Reggie chambers really like gave me massive nostalgia since they try to be a little cryptic like they were in Gen 3. Well, not as cryptic in Gen 3 because Gen 3 was ridiculous how you had to get the Reggies in that game. But this game to sort of recreate that feeling of you had to like do some specific thing at the door to get it to open, and then you could open the chamber to the Reggies, and I thought that was really neat. The Galarian birds were really cool to get as well. They fly off to all the different wild areas, and they sort of act like roaming legendaries, if you know what those are from the older games. But I like how they do it in this game because you can actually see the legendary walking around the wild area, so you don't have to just run in circles in the grass and hope it comes out as a random battle. But yeah, I just thought it was really good. I love all the side quests. There's also the Dynamax sort of like raid adventures where you can invite four, or I guess three people, including yourself, take rental Pokemon, fight like a chain of raid battles, or a Dynamax Pokemon. You fight three of them, and then you fight a legendary. And I think it's super fun. The AI usually is an issue with this, but since all the Pokemon are rental, they could get Pokemon to actually attack. Because the issue in regular Dynamax raids were sometimes you would get AI partner that just had like a soul rock and it would just like keep powering itself up with like cosmic power and not do anything and die. But in these max raid like adventures, they could get Pokemon that can actually attack. So I thought the AI actually helped a lot more just due to the rental Pokemon system. I haven't actually played with people, but I thought the AI was fine enough, which is really weird to say because I thought the AI in the regular raid battles like sucked. But yeah, basically I think the DLC for someone that would probably give Sword and Shield like maybe a 6 or a 5, I thought was just very okay. It was fine. The DLC really turned it around. I'll probably give it like an 8 now with the DLC attached because it makes me like this is the what I want Pokemon to be, more focused on like open world stuff where you do side quests. You know, it's more open-ended. It's not as linear as just beat all the 8 gyms. I just really like this direction they're going, and I hope Gen 9 or the remake of Gen 4, whatever they do next, is more in line with this. Because if they go back to routes, if it's not a remake of Gen 4, right? If it's Gen 9 and do routes again, I'm gonna be really disappointed because I think these wild areas are a good step forward. But again, I mean, it's still not enough. I think Game Freak is a really lazy developer, but that's a whole different story. I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, I just hope Game Freak goes into this direction with the next generation of Pokemon because I think they have something here, and hopefully they just keep it going. I think this DLC was great, both Out of Armor and Crown Tundra. And if you have Pokemon Sword and Shield, I really suggest getting it. I think it makes the game. It makes the games a lot better. That's all I gotta say on that. And I'm done. I need water.
Okay. All right, my turn. Hopefully, my voice doesn't give out. So, most of my stuff is anime and manga. So, if you don't want to hear that, you could skip to the gaming news. But my two gaming things were League and TFT, mostly TFT. But with League, one of my coworkers, we just like started talking because one of my other coworkers, he was like, "Yo, you like play League?" So the one coworker, he was like the highest rank in the store before I came in. Yeah. Sort of like his peak was like D2 or whatever. But when he was like, "Yo, bro, you like peak Grandmaster? What the hell?" I was like, "Yeah, you know, it'd be like that." But nowadays I'm just sitting in Diamond. But anyways, so he was doing his like Diamond promos because he was like Plat 1. So I was like watching his games and like, you know, sort of like giving him like tips before he went into like his final game, which he unfortunately lost, but he did make it back in 2 promos and won it. So, but I played 2 games with him afterwards, like normals, and those were fun. Like I have not played League in so long and just like had fun like that. I'm gonna be honest, and it honestly felt pretty good. But with TFT, I pretty much I'm a dirty brawler hunter player. I literally spam that every game because I like beefy boys and then 180 carry. So every game I'm playing front to back. So, but yeah, when it comes to my anime stuff, Inuyasha, I watched a little bit of that, but I stopped because I started watching Attack on Titan, which I'll talk about at the end. But Inuyasha, it's still sort of like the same old, like it's a 90s anime that stuff's going on. It's in a fantasy world. Yeah. Haikyuu, watching that week by week is still hype. I really, really enjoy Haikyuu. Still got to watch the new episode that dropped today. Noblesse. It's the newest webtoon. Talked about it previously. I honestly still have no idea what's going on, like, sort of like solidly. I'm sort of just like watching it and being like, okay, so like this is happening, like a lot of stuff is not fully explained yet. So, but I'm not sure if it's a shonen or what. It feels very much like a fantasy, like slice of life sort of stuff's going on. I'm not entirely sure because like people are in college and they're like stuff's going on there, socializing. Hey, you want to come over to my house? But there's also like this like other side of things where like there's just like random stuff going on and like I don't even know. But supposedly the original man was good, but I don't know. I feel like most of the Crunchyroll webtoon shows have been like really mediocre, which includes Tower of God and God of High School, because God of High School, they sort of like rush through everything just to like get to the action, which like if that's all you want, which is just the action, then that's a great show for you. Tower of God, it definitely felt pretty underdeveloped, and Noblesse, I don't know. I'm kind of lost with it. Maybe I'm just dumb, but a new sort of shonen show that's come out is Jujutsu Kaisen. And this show is very interesting. I'm only 2 episodes in, and I believe they just dropped episode 5. But yeah, I am honestly liking it so far. Episode 1 isn't that stellar, I'm going to be honest. Once you watch episode 2 and like the first like 5 to 10 minutes of it, then you'll see exactly where the shonen's going to go. And yeah, there's demons, there's superpowers, there's things going on. I think the main characters in like high school, like typical thing, the guy's in high school and he's fighting demons, but yeah, so far it's like pretty good, and I really want to watch the rest of it to sort of like catch up on it and watch it week to week. There's gonna be 24 episodes, so it's gonna be a while before the whole thing actually comes out. But yeah, very, very excited to actually get into this one because it feels a little different from the other recent shonen like My Hero and like Demon Slayer, but sort of like still within that shonen genre, I guess. The Hunter x Hunter manga, finally finished that. It's sort of like the volumes that have come out, which is up to volume 36. There's still 10 chapters that aren't in like that volume sort of way, so I have to read them online. So I'm gonna be doing that because they have enough chapters to make a volume, but they just haven't done it yet. And it's been like I think like 2 years since there's been a new chapter, so I'm gonna take my time with that because hiatus or whatever the joke is for Hunter x Hunter, because it always does go on hiatus. But yeah, where I am at right now, which is like I forget exactly what chapter, but pretty much at the end of volume 36 plus 1 chapter that I had to read online. It's good. I mean, it's sort of like the Dark Continent arc, and it's mainly focused on Kurapika and like what he's doing on the ship as they're going to the Dark Continent stuff. And yeah, like interesting stuff's going on the ship. And yeah, you don't really see Gon and Killua, which are like the 2 sort of like main characters of the show. But I'm pretty sure that like whatever the creator of Hunter x Hunter has in mind, he probably had a plan that he just hasn't executed yet because of his health. So maybe one day we'll see exactly what happens fully, because it's been, once again, a very long time since we've gotten a new like Hunter x Hunter anything. The Demon Slayer manga, I started that since I finished the Hunter x Hunter one. And I read all of volume 7. So volume 7 is pretty much right where the anime ends. So the first chapter of volume 7 pretty much recaps like the final episode of 26, episode 26, and then it goes into the train arc, which is the movie, and like it's good. I really love Demon Slayer. If you guys don't know me, I really, really love Demon Slayer. So I pretty much bought all of the volumes so I could just read up and like sort of get ahead, because it's been a couple months since I've watched Demon Slayer, and I just want more of it. But yeah, I'm very excited to watch the movie now because the things that happen in the manga are pretty cool. And one thing I learned is that I'm actually not slow at reading manga. It's literally just that Hunter x Hunter, when they have the speech bubbles, they literally fill that up with the tiniest text and just like make sure they fit as much dialogue as possible. So a Demon Slayer, like the text is like much bigger with less words and a lot more action going on. Obviously they, still like say things to like explain stuff that in terms of like what's going on, like what this new demon power is or whatever. So, But Demon Slayer, when I was like on break, when I would read Hunter x Hunter, I would get through maybe 1 to 2 chapters. When I was on break yesterday reading the Demon Slayer manga, I got through at least 2/3 of it, maybe 1/3 of it. I'm not entirely sure, but I got through a lot of the manga in that like one session. I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's just that Hunter x Hunter just likes to write a lot of stuff for their characters. But anyways, Weathering with You, we watched that this past week, and it's by the same person that did Your Name, and it definitely feels like that because overall, like, I thought that the movie was fine. It didn't like blow me away like Your Name did, because Your Name was sort of original in that concept, and it felt like the director was sort of just trying to repeat it in a way. So
Yeah, he really did feel like he tried to do the same movie again, which is a little weird. Like, it felt the same, but not as good. Like, I still enjoyed it. Like, animation, music, it was all still like very good. But the story itself, I felt like wasn't as put together. Like, I don't know. Like, outside the main character, kind of seems like a dickhead. Like, at least towards the end, I'm like, all right. I don't like characters that do things like that. Like, I can't really say much without spoiling it, so I kind of won't. But I don't know. I don't like selfish characters that much, and I felt like he kind of really went overboard with that. With what happened,
yeah,
so.
because what happens afterwards, I was like, ooh, what? Okay, I guess that can happen. But
Yeah.
anyways, what's been eating up most of my time this past week has been Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
So I got through season 1 and season 2. Not to spoil anything, just because I think that we'll save that when we get into, or whenever I finish season 3, pretty much, which is probably going to be next episode. But Attack on Titan. Damien's been right, guys. This show is goddamn hype. It is really, really good. And why is it good? Okay, so before I even watched the show, all I knew is that it was like really like overhyped and really like overrated, which is like what a lot of people say about like Demon Slayer and stuff, but I still love Demon Slayer. And even after watching the first 2 seasons, I really, really like Attack on Titan. And the reason why it's so good is because the animation is very nice. The surprise factor of the show, because like pretty much, especially in season 2, I felt, is that like every episode I was just like, wait, that just happened? Wait, what's going on now? Like the amount of just like surprises that they throw at you. Obviously, there is like some stuff within the show that I was like, all right, like that was kind of obvious. Some of the like big like reveals, quote unquote, like some of them I was like, oh, okay, like I kind of saw that coming, but most of them I was like, what the hell's going on? So animation's good, surprise factor, the story, the world itself, the characters. Obviously, I think that that's the main thing that a lot of people like about the show, is that like the characters and like every single one of them really does feel distinct and different. But also like the way the show is paced, I think is also like pretty good. Especially in season 1, when like they were explaining the main 2 characters, Eren and Mikasa's sort of like relationship and how like they came about. But yeah, like overall, like Attack on Titan, it's super good. I'm just trying to catch up because the final season is gonna drop later this year in December, so pretty excited about that now. But yeah, do you have anything to say about Attack on Titan?
No, this is really good. Like, I guess the only bad thing I can say about it is that I guess Eren isn't the greatest. Like, I don't know. I feel like Eren. I didn't really like Eren too much. I think he gets better in season 3, but he was never my favorite part of the show. But like even then, I don't think he's that bad, because I know a lot of people don't really like him all that much. But that's really the only negative thing I can say about it. Everything else is amazing. Like, and it gets even better. Like season 3 is amazing. Like you're in for an amazing time.
Oof.
I love season 3.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can definitely see what people are saying with Eren as a character, because it's kind of just like when you watch the show, like it's like, oh, okay, bro, like come on, like he's doing it again.
Yeah. Like I feel like the good thing about it is like he doesn't even feel like like no one really feels like a main character, because the show really gives a lot of time to each character to really flesh them out. So like he doesn't, like the show doesn't really hinges on him being the main character. Like it hinges on everyone being interesting. I think it does that really well. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Also, the funny moments of the show, they might not seem funny on the surface, but if you have that sort of like dark sense of humor, you'll be laughing at sometimes. I was just like, okay, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah, the show's pretty messed up, if you can. But
yeah,
has a good sense of humor sometimes. Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to get into the final part of the show where we're going to talk about all the recent gaming news. So first is Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light coming to the Switch,
Yeah.
which is a game that has been released in Japan for a while, but now they are bringing it overseas on the eShop, but only for a limited amount of time once again. So it is $5.99 digitally. And it is going to be out December 4th, and it'll be available until March 31st. So, what are your thoughts on this?
So yeah, Nintendo's doing it again with the limited time release. I really don't know why. I mean, I guess this one makes a little more sense just because I guess it's like, I mean, I don't know. It should just be up forever. I don't know. Like the physical edition, yeah, that one I could see being only available till March because that makes sense because like the anniversary edition. But I feel like the base game of like this retranslated of the NES game should just be like forever. I don't know why they're
Hmm.
taking it away after March 31st. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. I really can't fathom why besides panic buying, and I guess that really is just it. Like they just want people to panic buy it just so they have it and like it's in their collection. Because it is a really cool thing. Like they're bringing the first Fire Emblem game to the West, like with a new translation. Like it's not gonna be all butchered or anything like that. Like it's like a brand new translation by like modern things. I mean, obviously, I would never play the original Fire Emblem. I don't know why I would do that. I feel
Hmm.
like the hardest game genres to go back to are definitely RPGs, like NES RPGs. Like those seems like torture. But again, it's cool for those Fire Emblem fans. But again, like, why is it limited time? I don't really understand.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I just don't really like this. I know Nintendo usually does this. Like, I feel like people are acting like this is the first time Nintendo has ever done this, but they've done it multiple times. They did it with the Mario All Stars one, the 25th anniversary one. I believe they
Hmm.
did it with the Kirby one too.
Yep.
So yeah, they did it a lot, and it's annoying. I don't like it when they do things like this.
Yeah, just like limited releases in general for Nintendo have been around for a while, but I think that the reason why people are kind of upset is because, it's a digital game, which is
Yeah.
a lot more understandable as to why you should be upset because it's like, it's a digital game, like we should be able to buy it whenever we want. I know it's only $6, but like, I'm gonna buy it and then I'm not gonna play it, sort of thing. But like, this also harkens back to I forget, it was during the Wii U era where like they made like certain SNES games on the eShop Virtual Console or whatever, like 30 cents. So like, and Earthbound was a part of it, which was like the first time like you could actually get Earthbound like affordably.
Yeah.
So that's how I bought it, along with the other like 30-cent SNES games that came out, and that was obviously for like a limited time for each game to be 30 cents. So yeah, that's obviously a limited sort of thing for like the price. But yeah, I mean, Fire Emblem fans getting the first game in the series translated along with some extra features like being able to fast
Save
forward
states. Yeah.
the text, make bookmarks, sort of try to modernize it as much as they can without like sort of damaging the original game in a sense, I guess.
Hmm.
But yeah, this is definitely like a cool thing. The anniversary edition, I don't know how that's gonna turn out. I'm pretty sure it's gonna end up like most sort of Nintendo physical things that aren't made readily. It's gonna be very rare, probably very very expensive. I'm honestly gonna keep my eyes out on it just because it's only like $50, so it's
Hmm.
not that much. But yeah, and like what it comes with for the anniversary edition is like pretty cool. So.
I just hope they like remake the first. I know they already did on DS, but apparently wasn't that good. I hope they do like an Echo situation, which is remake it for like the Switch. That would be cool. Because Marth is such like he's like the face of Fire Emblem, but the West never really got any game with him, so it's kind of
Hmm.
weird. So hopefully they could like remake the first one in like Switch quality, like Three Houses. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
All right. So next news we got Alex Hutchinson, I believe.
Hutchinson, yeah.
Yeah, he's the creative director of the Google Stadia, and he has some hot takes about streamers. Since Twitch was doing a lot of like MCA, DMCA bans on music, well not bans, but strikes on music. Um,
Hmm.
and this guy basically is saying, hey, don't worry about that. Like, hey, you should be like you should pay the developers and publishers to even like play the game you're playing because that's their content and it's not your content. You're just leeching off them basically.
Hmm.
And I think that's dumb. I mean, a lot of people think it's dumb, but I mean, there's some points like certain games do get hurt by streamers, like Detroit Become Human. Like I saw that whole game on Twitch. I'm like, I wouldn't buy it. I've already seen the whole thing, right? I mean, I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of branching pathways and stuff, but it doesn't like I've already seen the main story. Like I don't really care.
Yeah.
But I feel like for most games, they just get benefited from Twitch. I mean, look at things like Among Us, right? Or Fall Guys, or Phasmophobia. Like, I feel like those games wouldn't have gone as big without actually wouldn't have been as big without Twitch.
Yeah.
Like, those games, that platform made those games to what they are now, and they've been selling like crazy. So I feel like this hot take is really stupid to make this year, just from those three examples alone. I mean, I get what he's trying to say, but I feel like even for most like story games. So it's not like God of War, right? The gameplay is still good in that game. Obviously, you might know what happens in the story if you watch a streamer play it, but I still think the game is worth playing just for the gameplay part. You can't really experience that by watching a streamer. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I don't know. What's your take on this?
Ooh, this is a pretty hot take this guy got here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's just dumb. I mean, just going back to the whole DMCA with Twitch and music,
Yeah.
like, I think that, as a YouTuber that's been doing this shit for a long, long time, it's like, all right, playing music on anything, it's kind
Ban.
of risky.
Yeah.
And now Twitch, they're now sort of locking down on that, sort of like giving people strikes. And yeah, it is kind of risky to play music now because some people could clip it and then it'll just cause a strike. Anyways, my opinion on just like DMCA with music is like, all right, like they have the right to do it, but like, is it like a smart move? Not necessarily, in my opinion, just because like I've watched a lot of streams where like I discover like music through them. So like, for
Yeah.
example, more recently I was watching Myth, and like he watches the TSM Valorant players like play, and then when they win, he puts on like some like pretty good like trap music, and I'm like, hey, what's this song? He has it open on his Spotify. Let me go and look this up, add it onto my thing, and then I'll listen to it. Another example is with Afromoose. There was one time he was playing a Juice World song that I never heard of. Oh, okay, and then suddenly that Juice World song was on my on repeat playlist because I was playing it so much. So there's obviously benefits there, but like the instant sort of like, oh, this guy has like 20K people watching, and they're not going to see any of those streams on like Spotify or Apple Music or whatever application they're using. So, the record companies obviously have that sort of right to be like, hey, we're going to like, strike you because you're playing our music. And like, these streamers on Twitter being like, hey, yeah, can we like play your music on stream? I'm like, that's not going to work entirely because like the record company obviously has like the final say.
Yeah.
But I think most independent artists are going to be like, yeah, you could just like stream my music, whatever. But going back to this guy's hot take, once again, going back to where we were to begin with, this guy's just dumb. I don't even know what the hell he's talking about. I understand that, like, oh, you bought their game and now you're like streaming it to other people. Obviously, that's gonna hurt games like Telltale or Detroit Become Human, where like the game is like mainly narrative.
Yeah.
But for most other games, like they benefit from it. Like 100%. Like you said, Among Us, like that game would not be as big as it is today. When I was at work today, there was a kid wearing a Among Us costume, and I was like, okay, like
That was
yeah,
quick.
this game blew up like 100%. So yeah, and like Among Us, Fall Guys, and a bunch of other games over the past couple of years alone, like they wouldn't be as big as they are today. And yeah, I think that streaming only benefits them mostly, even for games like Detroit or like Telltale games. Like if people are interested to like play the game themselves, they'll buy the game. Like people, like when you watch Let's Players, if there are any, like when you watch Chugga Conroy's videos, it's also just because like people like lose interest in watching the videos, but also people will be like, hey, yo, like he's playing like Xenoblade. This game looks kind of dope. All right, now I'm gonna buy it. People playing games, whether it be live or VOD, it always benefits the game company in some way because you're going to be interested in that sort of piece of media at the end of the day. So like, despite you not playing Detroit, you might buy a Detroit Become Human shirt, or like you might be interested in the next game that they're going to make or whatever. Like just having more reach to other people, especially because streaming is becoming a much more popular thing, There's like no downside. Yeah, licensing a game out so you can stream it, like what is this? Like that just sounds pretty greedy, and I think no one's ever going to do that and think that yeah, like people are actually going to buy this. Like unless you already have that sort of audience, but people are 100% going to backlash and be like, "Yo, like this is dumb. Like this is a greedy move." You know? So, but that's enough of my rant. Is there anything else you'd like to add as I'm sort of collecting my thoughts here?
Yeah. Just the thing with Chugga, because when he first Let's Play Xenoblade 1, that was back in like 2014 or 13. That's what really got me into JRPGs and just Xenoblade in general. And that's like one of my favorite JRPGs now. And I wouldn't have bought that game like 3 times if it wasn't for Chugga Conroy. And now I love the series. Same thing with Persona. Like the first time I've ever saw Persona anything was Persona 4 from a different Let's Player. And that's what made me super into Persona, and I just got all the games from there. So you make a very good point. Just because I'm watching someone play like a JRPG, which is mostly focused on story, and you think like I wouldn't even buy it because I already know what's happening. No, I made me buy the games like multiple times. Like I have Xenoblade three times, or Xenoblade 1 3 times. So yeah, I think like you said, just exposure to like a franchise or just that game in general will make people buy it usually. So yeah, this guy's just garbage.
Yeah. I mean, like, maybe you should worry about Google Stadia before you could, make these hot takes. Like, if everyone was using Google Stadia, that would be a different story. But no one's using it because you're charging full price to stream games, which is, not what people want at all. So, but yeah, like there's a bunch of other examples with like games. For me personally, like Ant Dude, when he had like his old channel, which was Sonic Dude 101. Yeah,
I remember.
What's it called? When he was playing Pac-Man World 2, I was like, wait, there's a Pac-Man platformer, and the game looked fun, and I was like, all right, now I'm gonna go to Plane Trade and buy it. I mean, like obviously, like it's a used game, obviously, and the game's kind of old. But if you were to play a newer game, obviously that same effect would have on me. So yeah, just like streaming and like playing games for like sort of to make content for it for free has always been the way for like however many years now, and to sort of like license that is kind of just like dumb.
Yeah, it's really dumb. It's a really dumb take. The more I think about it, the more dumb it is.
Yeah, like I understand where he's coming from like a business perspective, but like the way it's been for so long, you trying to fix that by adding a paywall for streamers to do, nah, like that is not gonna work at all. So there's that. Next is Netflix is working on a live action Assassin's Creed series, but they are also working on a animated and anime series. So I guess those two are separate from one another, which is kind of weird.
I would guess so. I mean, I don't know what animated thing they would do, because I feel like with the Castlevania Netflix, like that's an anime, I guess. Like with how it looks and how it acts. So I would feel like an anime Assassin's Creed would work more than like an animated one. Like when I think about animated like adult centric things, usually it's more comedic base, or like children's base. I mean, there's things like Samurai Jack, but I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Maybe they like missed sort of set it or whatever, but yeah. Anyways, there's going to be a live action and a anime or animated version of Assassin's Creed, which is going to be very interesting because last time we got anything from Assassin's Creed that was outside of the games was the movie, and we don't talk about that. But Netflix, they did a pretty good job with The Witcher from my understanding. So people have a lot of faith within this Assassin's Creed series. So maybe I'll watch it, maybe I won't. I don't know. It's been a year since I played a Assassin's Creed game in general. But maybe I'll look at the anime just because, I'm a goddamn weeb now. So
yeah. I never really cared about Assassin's Creed. Honestly, the new ones kind of catch my eye just because they're more RPG focused now. But yeah, I've never really cared about Assassin's Creed. But again, maybe if there's an anime, I'll probably watch it. I do want to watch the Castlevania one. I have been meaning to watch that. But yeah, I guess we should go on to the real sad news for a lot of the gamers out there. So yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed to December 10th. Obviously, a lot of people are upset. And there's multiple reasons. Like, one, people are upset just because it got delayed when it went gold, which I don't think usually happens. Like, this is the first time I've seen it happen.
Maybe they lied.
Maybe. But also just it's been reported that CD Projekt Red has been really, really, really crunching their workers. Like, Jason Schreier already said, like the developers have come up to him saying like, yeah, we've been working like 100 hours a week. Like, it's been horrible. And now to
Oh.
have that like pushed even further for them to keep working these horrible hours up until December 10th is obviously horrible.
Hmm.
And I'm glad people are finally turning around, seeing that, hey, CD Projekt Red, that's kind of messed up. You shouldn't be doing that. I honestly think they should just delay it to next year. Apparently the issues are with the current gen. They should just cancel the current gen versions of it. If I'm gonna be honest, I never even thought this game would be a current gen game. I always thought like, oh, this is like a next gen game, like it's coming out for PS5 and Xbox Series X. But
Hmm.
no, they were very adamant about it being on Xbox One and PS4, and I feel like that's really causing them a lot of issues to like having it delay it so many times. Especially this delay apparently is really focused on those current gen issues. So I mean, they can't cancel it now, obviously, because people
Hmm.
would be very, very upset. But I don't know. I felt like it was kind of a mistake, really having like what 6 versions of the game. Like it's crazy, and the studio is still like they're not tiny because Witcher 3 sold a lot, but it's still not as big as like Rockstar and Naughty Dog, And they're taking on this really ambitious game and like try to port it to so many like consoles. Like I feel they just try ate too much and now they're like suffering for it. I don't know. It
Yeah.
just seems like mismanagement, like just a whole lot of issues. Yeah, it hasn't been a fun time for CD Projekt Red.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I have no interest in this game, despite how much hype it has, just because I've never played a CG Project Red game, and I don't
Yeah.
have a lot of interest in another huge open world, sort of like anything you can do kind of game. Like the game, everything I've seen and everything I've heard of it, it sounds like really fun and really, really good. But like you said, just like them trying to maximize their profit in a way by porting it or having the current gen and next gen version release all at the same time to make sure that they get as much money as possible. It's kind of crazy. And at the same time, them crunching their workers just because like they're trying to make sure that both versions of the games can work properly on each respective platform, which, that's the Xbox One, the Xbox Series S/X, the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 Pro, PS5, PC, and Stadia. Like that's like 5, 6 platforms there already, which is a lot to handle. And the fact that they're crunching their workers as much as they are is kind of sad, just because I think that crunch time amongst just like the gaming industry should like disappear in a way or like slowly dwindle down because you just can't be overworking these people and then like they could also just like lose their job instantly, just like with the people at Telltale,
Mhm.
like but yeah, it getting delayed by 21 days doesn't really affect me, but I know it affects a lot of people. Or 21 days. I don't know if I said 10 or 21, but anyways, yeah, it got delayed to December 10th, unfortunately. So hopefully there's no more delays because they definitely went on Twitter earlier this year, was like, no more delays, it's coming
Yeah.
out.
I
And,
saw that.
people were memeing that, and I was like, stuff happens. Maybe you should have deleted that before, or it's the internet. Deleting it wouldn't have helped either. But I'm glad the social media again was able to sort of like play off of it. But yeah, it definitely sucks to those that are really anticipating this game because some people are taking days off work just to play this. So kind of crazy. But anyways, we'll
Yeah.
move on to the Nintendo Direct Mini. So I'm glad that they're just like sort of like shadow dropping these on us and just like, hey, it's up on YouTube. You can just watch it all. And the reason why I like that is because you're able to skip or fast forward through whichever thing you don't like or aren't interested in. So I picked out a couple of things here. The main thing that I was interested in was obviously the No More Heroes stuff. Still confirmed for 2021 for the third game, and the first and second game were out on the Switch. But yeah, is there anything you want to pick out here, good sir?
I guess Bravely Default 2, which is technically 3, but whatever, because it's 2 3DS games. Um, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think I said this before, like half a year ago when I played the demo, that I really don't like the models. Like
Hmm.
their faces look really weird, and they look super weird, like in this trailer. Like I don't know,
Hmm.
they're trying to replicate the 3DS art style in like HD, and I don't think it's working out too well. Also,
Yeah.
the voice acting wasn't great, and I mean I love like dubs, right? Like, I watch dubs a lot, but this one wasn't very good. I don't know what was going on there. But again, I don't usually like Bravely Default is actually one of the rare RPGs that you don't really play for the story since it's very generic. I don't know, typical Final Fantasy, save the crystals, goddess of light, whatever. I mostly play it for the gameplay, honestly, because the job system is so good. I love the job system in like these type of games. And this game, like again, I played the demo, fantastic gameplay wise. I loved it. And there was also a second like sort of like trailer they showed. It wasn't in the direct, but it sort of showed all the feedback they got from that demo, which they also did with Octopath, where they fixed up a lot of issues a lot of people were having. So I thought that was really neat. And obviously they kept trying to say the game's coming out this year, but obviously with Corona and like all that stuff, it's been delayed to February 26th. So it's good to have a release date there. I might pick it up. I'm gonna wait and see how it does. Since again I like the demo, but Bravely Default 1 kind of burned me because the ending was just it went from like a 9 out of 10 to like a 6 out of 10 just due to the game made you do the same part of the game like 6 times for some reason. I don't know why. That's been talked about to death though. Music is great though in the first game. I think they have the same composer for this game, so that's cool. I really love the music in Bravely Default 1. So yeah, I'm hoping it's good because I love RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So anything else? Yeah.
I mean, it was very funny. I was on Twitter earlier and I saw someone was trying to play Control, the cloud version on the Switch, and the servers were full. I was like, oof, yikes. That is very funny. So, yeah, they announced that Hitman 3 and Control, which are current gen games, are now on the Switch, but they're cloud versions. So, yeah, we don't know a release date for Hitman, but Control is out now, and yeah, it looks like that people are actually playing it, and it's not enough server space, which is kind of funny. So yeah, I guess the reason why they did a cloud version was to make sure that the game actually ran on the Switch properly.
Dude,
so
there's no way that game would run on this. That game could barely run on current gen consoles. So when I saw Control, I'm like, no way they're putting that on Switch. And I'm like, oh, it's a cloud version. I mean, that makes more sense.
yeah, internet required. So I wonder how that's gonna play out to those people that want to play it years from now and they have it on their Switch. They're like, wait a minute, the servers aren't working. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Plus, you're probably gonna need a wired connection from your Switch.
Yeah, if you want it to like respond properly when you're actually playing it.
Yeah.
Part-Time UFO was a cute little sort of like puzzle game, I guess. I'm not entirely sure.
Like you sort of like stack things on top of each other. I think it was like a mobile game. That HAL, I think it was HAL. Yeah, the people who made Kirby. Yeah, you kind of just stack things on top of each other. It looks fun. It looks like a cute little puzzle game. I'm usually not that into those type of games, but it definitely looks like it could be addicting to people that really like those sort of like unique like puzzle games. So yeah, that game looked nice. The gameplay they showed for No More Heroes 3 looked good. It didn't show a lot of it, but from what they showed, it looks good. I think it looks good on the Switch. There's a lot of color everywhere. You're fighting aliens now. Because, of course you are. So, and yeah, it coming out 2021, that's great. Like, 2021 is shaping up to be a pretty good year for games. I mean, I thought this year was good for games, not for anything else, but for games it was pretty good. So yeah, and again, the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity demo also dropped, and again, still coming out November 20th. Again, I said everything I said about that. I'm still excited, but hopefully it could fix up the FPS issues.
All right, well, we'll get into the last bit of sort of tiny news, but we'll probably discuss about just like Spider-Man Miles Morales. They introduced that the second suit that you'll get with the launch edition is the Spider-Verse suit. And my God, Marvel, they dropped a 10-minute video of just like showing off the suit. And my God, the way this thing moves and looks, I'm like in love with it. I'm going to be honest.
It looks amazing. I knew they were going to do a Spider-Verse suit, but the way they did it is super cool. Like, it even has half the frame rate like it did in the movie. I'm like, that's really cool. It's such an unnecessary touch of detail, but I love it. It looks like they straight up ripped the model from the movie and put it in the game. That's how good it looks.
Like 100% Insomniac Games, we do not deserve you. I'm going to be honest. They put so much work in the original game just by adding the Sam Raimi suit and the other suits that came after it. And the suit is not exclusive to the launch edition. We should clarify that because a lot of people on Twitter were questioning Insomniac Games like, yo, like, is this like an exclusive thing? No. You're just able to unlock it earlier if you were to get the launch edition comparatively to just buying the normal edition, which makes sense. They don't want to have stuff locked behind sort of a, I guess, paywall or whatever the weird term is. But yeah, the Spider-Verse suit, oh my God, man, I am loving the gameplay that they showed off. And like normally, like these days, I don't watch a lot of like sort of like long gameplay things, but just watching the suit move in web swing, like I'm super duper excited for this game, like even more, just because of a suit.
Yeah, honestly, all the gameplay they've been showing has made me so hyped. I mean, I was very hyped that they were making the Miles game, but the
Hmm.
more I see of it, the more hype I get. Especially with the Spider-Verse suit, I'm like, they're putting so much love into the game, like they always do, and I'm just looking super forward to this game. It's probably gonna be one of the better launch games I have played. I mean, Breath of the Wild is up there, but who knows? Like, this is a great game just to have when the PS5 comes out. So yeah, it's gonna be fantastic, and I'm hoping for more cool suits as well. Like obviously, this is probably gonna be the coolest suit. Like there's nothing that will top this. I think everyone was hoping for a Spider-Verse suit, and I think they nailed it with this one, especially with all the details they put. Like also like when you punch people, as like a little comic thing, like pow
Hmm.
and stuff like that. That's also again just super cool details. It didn't have to do it, but he did. I love a Soniac. I've been loving them forever, so that would never change. So yeah, I love those guys, man.
Yeah, the suit is definitely very, very cool. Some other, I'm not entirely sure. I have to check the goddamn Game Informer website. I don't know if they dropped anything new related to the coverage or whatever, but yeah, just like, what's it called? This game's gonna be great. That's all I could really say. Like, oh
Yeah,
my god.
I'm very excited for it.
And I would imagine that like this suit in particular would not look as good on the PlayStation 4. I don't know how they would be able to like do like the whole like skipping frames for the PlayStation 4. Maybe they're able to pull it off, who knows. But yeah, like definitely I feel like that this game's going to be at its full potential with the PlayStation 5 obviously. So but yeah, hopefully my copy comes in at the same time I get my PS5 because I would be
Yeah,
very sad.
I'm hoping my PS5 comes in with. I mean, I got it online. Like I didn't go
Yeah.
to a store.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, it makes me nervous because my brother and I both got it at Target. We use different cards, but I hope they
Mhm.
don't get sus. Like, where's the two
Yeah.
PS5s going to the zone? I'm like, no,
I
wait.
mean, I would imagine that like since you guys pay with different cards, they don't know your entire. I mean, you guys have the same last name, so but
Yeah,
they're probably not gonna question it. Like
hope
no,
not.
no doubt. Like if they question it, like they would honestly like have to like email you and whatever. And I'm pretty sure Target's not gonna do that. Like
I
that would
hope
be
so. Hey,
that would be OD.
I'm just saying. I just hope I get it like on time. Like I don't know.
Hmm.
Part of me is like thinking my PS5 not might come out like on Thursday or when it comes
Hmm.
out. But
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're enough done rambling for today. Is there anything
Yeah.
else you'd like to add?
No, that's it. I think I think I'm out.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to the Travis Damian Podcast, episode 48. We will see you guys 2 weeks from now with another episode.
Later.